Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances, Dandavat Pranam. So here also we are continuing our discussion or reading. Sorry, it is not discussion. Actually, we are reading this book, and with some realization, I am trying to share. So this book, this is very third session, and also the third chapter of On the Way to Krishna. The title of this chapter is Seeing Krishna Everywhere and Always. Seeing Krishna Everywhere and Always. Title seems very practical and matured. So how it look like? We are reading. So before reading, we offer our prayers in Om Ajnanatirandasya Jnananjana Chakshunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajata Sahagana Nathanvitam Vam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Hare Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratuse Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshadarini Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna. So we are continuing our discussion. Now we are starting with chapter number 3. Title is Seeing Krishna Everywhere and Always. It is most practical book at all, and the chapter are very blissful. It is directly Srila Prabhupada words, and each and every word is important for us to practically rendering service or devotional service throughout our life. So that thing we have to focus and try to follow in our life. So before starting, I am back for blessings of senior devotees or any devotees who are listening this audio. Please bless me with devotion and unflinching faith in the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna. By this I can develop the taste in chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra and serving Vaishnavas without offense. Thank you. Now I am starting with chapter number 3. Seeing Krishna Everywhere and Always. The two words are very much important. Sometimes we see Krishna when we are in devotional consciousness or some Krishna consciousness or some ecstasy, sometimes, but not everywhere and always. So two words are very important because it is selected by Srila Prabhupada. So seeing Krishna, we are also seeing Krishna, but not everywhere and always. So how can we see Krishna everywhere and always? That is explained in this chapter. So let's start. In our practical life, Krishna instructs how to evoke Krishna consciousness. It is not that we are to stop executing our duty or to cease from activity. Rather, activities have to be conducted in Krishna consciousness. Everyone has a vocation in life, but with that consciousness does he entered upon it. Everyone has a vocation in life, but with what consciousness does he entered upon it? Everyone is thinking, oh, I must have vocation in order to maintain my family, society, the government or the family have to be satisfied, and no one is free from such consciousness. One has to be in proper consciousness to execute any activity nicely. He whose consciousness is agitated, who is like madman, cannot execute any duty like me. He whose consciousness is agitated, who is like madman, cannot execute any duty. We should execute our duty properly, but we should do it thinking to satisfy Krishna. It is not that we have to change our process of work, but we do have to understand for whom we are working. Whatever activity we have to do, we must execute, but we should not be carried away by kama. Whatever activity we have to do, we must execute, but we should not be carried away by kam, desire. The Sanskrit word kama is used to indicate lust, desire or sense gratification. Sri Krishna instructs that we should not work for the satisfaction of kama or our own lust. The whole teaching of Bhagavad Gita is based on this principle. Arjuna wanted to satisfy his senses by refraining from fighting with his relative, but Krishna spoke to him to convince him to execute his duty for satisfaction of the Supreme. Materially, it may seem very pious that he is giving up his claim for a kingdom and refusing to kill his relative. But Krishna did not approve this, because the principle for Arjuna's decision was to satisfy his own senses. One's business or occupation need not to be changed. As Arjuna's was not changed, but one does have to change his consciousness. In order to change this consciousness, however, knowledge is required. That knowledge is knowing I am part and parcel of Krishna, the superior energy of Krishna. That is real knowledge. Relative knowledge may teach us how to repair a machine, but real knowledge is knowing our position as being integral with Krishna. Being a part of Him, our pleasure, which is partial, is dependent on the whole. For instance, my hand can take pleasure when it is attached to my body and serves it. It does not take pleasure in serving another's body. Because we are part of Krishna, our pleasure is in serving Him. I cannot be happy in serving you. Everyone is thinking I can only be happy serving myself, but no one knows who the self is. That self is Krishna. Mamevansho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatanaha manah sasthani indriyani prakriti sthani karshati. Translation: the living entity in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditional life, they are struggling very hard with 6 senses, which includes the mind. 5 senses plus 6 one is mind. BG 15 point, Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 15, verse number 7. The jivas or living entities are now detached from the whole due to material contact. It is therefore necessary for us to strive to attach ourselves again through the latent Krishna consciousness, so that within us, artificially, we are trying to forget Krishna and live independently. But this is not possible. When we are trying to live independent of Krishna, we come under the influence of the laws of material nature. If one thinks he is independent of Kṛṣṇa, he becomes dependent on illusory energy of Kṛṣṇa. Just as if one thinks that he is independent of government and its regulation, he becomes dependent on the police force. Everyone is trying to become independent, and this is called Maya, illusion. Individually, communally, socially, nationally, or universally, it is not possible to become independent. When we come to realize that we are dependent, we will have attained knowledge. Today, so many people striving for a peace in the world, but they do not know how to implement that peace formula. The United Nations has been striving for peace for so many years, but still war is going on. Yacchapi sarvabhutanam bijam tat aham arjuna na tadasti vina yatsyan maya bhutan characharam. Translation. Furthermore, O Arjuna, I am the generating seed of all existence. There is no being moving or unmoving that can exist without me. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, verse number 39. Kṛṣṇa is thus the proprietor of everything, the ultimate beneficiary and receiver of the results of everything. We may consider ourselves to be the proprietor of the fruits of our labor, but this is misconception. We must come to understand that Kṛṣṇa is the ultimate proprietor of the fruits of all our works. Hundreds of people may be working in an office, but they understand that whatever profit the business makes belongs to the proprietor. As soon as the teller at the bank thinks, oh, I have so much money, I am proprietor, let me take it home with me, his troubles begin. If we think that we can use whatever wealth we have amassed for our own sense gratification, we are acting out of calm lust. But if we come to understand that everything we have belongs to Kṛṣṇa, we are liberated. And we may have the same money in our hand, but as soon as we think that we are the proprietor, we will under the influence of Maya. One who is situated in consciousness that everything belongs to Kṛṣṇa is an actual learned man. Ishavasya idam sarvam yatkinchad jagatyam jagat tena taktena bunjita magrada kashyasviddanam. Translation. Everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. Everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should accept therefore only those things necessary for himself which are set aside as his quota, and one must not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. Shri Ishopanishad Mantra 1. This consciousness, Ishavasya, everything belongs to Kṛṣṇa, must be revived. Not only individually, but nationally and universally. When there will be peace, then there will be bliss. We often tend to be philanthropic or altruistic, and we strive to be friends of our countrymen, with our families, with all peoples of the world, but this is based on the wrong conception. The real friend is Kṛṣṇa. And if we want to benefit our family, nation or planet, we will work for him. If we have our family's welfare in mind, we will try to make all members Kṛṣṇa conscious. There are so many men trying to benefit their family, but unfortunately they do not succeed. They do not know what the real problem is. As the Bhagavatam says, one should not attempt to become a father or mother or a teacher unless he is able to save his children from death, from grip of material nature. The father should be knowing of Kṛṣṇa. I am repeating the same. As the Bhagavatam says, one should not attempt to become father or a mother or a teacher unless he is able to save his children from death, from the grip of material nature. The father should be in knowledge of Kṛṣṇa, and he should be determined that the innocent children who are entrusted to him will not have to undergo the cycle of birth and death again. He should be resolved to train his children in such a way that they will no longer have to be subjected to the painful cycle of birth and death. But before one can do this, he has to make himself expert. If he becomes expert in Kṛṣṇa consciousness, he can help not only his children, but his society and nation. But if he himself is bound by ignorance, how can he untie others who are similarly bound? Before one can make others free, he must be free himself. Actually, no one is free man, for everyone is under the spell of material nature. But one who is surrendered to Kṛṣṇa cannot be touched by Maya. He of all men is free. If one places himself in sunlight, there is no question of darkness. But if one places himself in artificial light, it may be flicker and go out. Kṛṣṇa is just like sunlight. Where he is present, there is no question of darkness and ignorance. The wise men, the Mahatmas, understand this. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvita. Translations. I am the source of all spiritual and material world. Everything emanates from me. The wise who know this perfectly engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, verse number 8. In this verse, the word Buddha is used, which indicates a wise man or one who is learned. What is his symptom? What is his symptom? As he knows that Kṛṣṇa is fountainhead of everything, of all emanation. He knows whatever he sees is but an emanation of Kṛṣṇa. In the material world, sex life is the most prominent factor. Sexual attraction is found in all species of life, and one may ask where it's come from. The wise man understands that his tendency is in Kṛṣṇa, and that is revealed in his friendship with themselves of Vraja. Whatever he is found in this material world can also be found in perfection in Kṛṣṇa. The difference is that in material world everything is manifest in perverted form. In Kṛṣṇa, all these tendencies and manifestations exist in pure consciousness, in spirit. One who knows this in full knowledge becomes a pure devotee of Kṛṣṇa. Mahatmanam stumam partha devim prakritimāśrita bhajanti ananya manaso gyatva bhūtādim avyayam sanatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhavrata satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhavrata namasyantascha mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate. Translations. O son of Pratha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, Mahatmas, are under the perfection of divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. Always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me, this great soul perpetually worship me with devotion. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse number 13. Who is the great soul? The Mahatma. Who is the great soul? The Mahatma. It is stated, it is he who under influence of superior energy. At present we are under the influence of Kṛṣṇa's inferior energy. As the living entity, our position is marginal. We can transfer ourselves either of two energies. Kṛṣṇa is fully independent, and because we are part and parcel of him, we also have this quality of independence. Therefore, we have a choice as to which energy we will function under. Because we are ignorant of superior nature, we have no alternative but remain in inferior nature. Some philosophies propound that there is no nature other than the one we are presently experiencing, and that the only solution to this is to nullify it and become void. But we cannot be void because we are living entities. It does not mean that we are finished just because we change our body. Before we can get we can get out from influence of material nature, we have to understand where our place actually is, where we are to go. If we do not know where to go, then we will simply say, oh, we do not know what is superior or inferior. All we know is this. So let us stay here and rot. Bhagavad Gita, however, gives us information of superior energy, the superior nature. That Kṛṣṇa speaks. He speaks of all eternity. It does not change. It does not matter what his present occupation or what Arjuna's occupation was. We only have to change our consciousness. At present we are guided, we only have to change our consciousness. At present we are guided by the consciousness of self-interest. But we do not know what our real self-interest is. Actually, we do not have self-interest, but sense interest. Whatever we are doing to satisfy the senses. It is this consciousness that has to be changed. In its place, we must implant our real self, interest Kṛṣṇa consciousness. How is this done? How it is done? How it is possible to become Kṛṣṇa conscious in every step of our life? Actually, Kṛṣṇa makes it very easy for us. Rasoham apsu kaunteya prabhasmi sachi suryaya pranava sarva viddishu shabdah ke purusham nrishu. Translation: O son of Kunti, I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon, and syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. I am the sound of ether and ability in the men. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, verse number 8. In this verse, Sri Kṛṣṇa is describing how we can become Kṛṣṇa conscious fully in all stages of life. All living entity must drink water. The taste of water is so nice that when we are thirsty, nothing but water seems to do. No manufacturer can create the pure taste of water. We can thus remember Kṛṣṇa or God when we drink water. No one can avoid drinking water every day of his life. So God consciousness is there. How can we forget? Similarly, when there is some illumination, that is also Kṛṣṇa. The original effulgence in spiritual sky, the Brahma Jyoti, emanates from the body of Kṛṣṇa. This metal sky is covered. The very nature of material universe is darkness, which we experience at night. It is being artificially illuminated by the sun, by reflection light of the moon, and by electricity. Where is this illumination coming from? The sun is being illuminated by Brahma Jyoti, or the bright effulgence of spiritual world. In the spiritual world, there is no need for sun or moon or electricity, because there everything is illuminated by Brahma Jyoti. On this earth, however, we can remember Kṛṣṇa whenever we see some illumination from sun. When we chant the Vedic mantras, which begins with Om, we can also remember Kṛṣṇa. Om, like Hare Krishna, is also an address to Lord, and Om is also Kṛṣṇa. Shabdah means sound, and whenever we hear any sound, we should know that it is the vibration of original sound. The pure spiritual sound, Om or Hare Krishna, whatever sound we hear in the material world, is but a reflection of that original spiritual sound, Om. In this way, when we hear sound, when we drink water, when we see some illumination, when we can remember God. If we can do this, then when will we not remember God? This is the process of Kṛṣṇa consciousness. In this way, we can remember Kṛṣṇa 24 hours a day. And in this way, Kṛṣṇa is with us. Of course, Kṛṣṇa is with us, but as soon as We remember this. His presence is factual and is felt. There are 9 different processes of associating with God, and the first method of association is Shravanam, hearing. By reading Bhagavad Gita, we hear the speeches of Sri Kṛṣṇa, which means that we are actually associating with Kṛṣṇa or God. We should always remember that when we speak of Kṛṣṇa, we refer to God. In as much as we associate with God and as we go on hearing the words of Kṛṣṇa and his names, contaminations of material nature is reduced. In understanding that Kṛṣṇa is sound, illumination, water and so many other things, it becomes impossible to avoid Kṛṣṇa. If we can remember Kṛṣṇa in this way, our association with him is permanent. Association with Kṛṣṇa is like association with sunshine. Where there is sunshine, there is no contamination. As long as one is out of ultraviolet rays of sun, he will not be diseased. In Western medicine, sunshine is recommended for all kinds of disease, and according to the Vedas, a diseased man should worship the sun for cure. Similarly, if we associate with Kṛṣṇa in Kṛṣṇa consciousness, our maladies are cured. By chanting Hare Kṛṣṇa, we can associate with Kṛṣṇa and we can see the water as Kṛṣṇa, the sun and moon as Kṛṣṇa, and we can hear the Kṛṣṇa in sound and taste him in water. Taste in water. Unfortunately, in our present condition, we have forgot Kṛṣṇa. But now we have to revive our spiritual life by remembering him. This process of Shravanam Kirtanam, hearing and chanting, was approved by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was speaking with Ramananda Rai, a friend of Lord's and great devotee, the Lord questioned him about the methods of spiritual realization. Ramananda recommended Varnashram Dharma, Samnyasa, the renunciation of work, so many other methods, but Lord Chaitanya said, no, all those methods are not so good. Each time Ramananda Rai suggested something, Lord Chaitanya rejected it and requesting a better method for spiritual development. Finally, Ramananda Rai quoted Vedic aphorism which recommended that one give up all necessary endeavor in mental speculation for understanding God, because by speculation it is not possible to arrive at ultimate truth. Scientists, for instance, may speculate about the distant stars and planets, but they can never come to any conclusion without experience. One may go on speculating throughout his life and never reach any conclusion. It is especially useless to speculate about God. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam recommends that all sort of speculation should be given up. It is recommended instead that one becomes submissive, realizing that not only is he an insignificant creature, but that this earth is only the small point in a great universe. New York City may seem very large, but when one realizes that the earth is such a small spot, and that on the earth the United States is just another small spot, and that in United States New York City is but a small spot, and that in New York the individual is only 1 out of million, then one can understand that he is not so very important after all. Realizing our insignificance in the face of universe and God, we should not be artificially puffed up, but should be submissive. We should be very careful not to fall prey to the frog philosophy. Once there was frog in well, and upon being informed of existence of Atlantic Ocean by friend, he asked the friend, "Oh, what is this Atlantic Ocean?" "It is vast body of water," his friend replied. "How vast? Is it double than the size of this well?" "Oh no, much larger," his friend replied. "How much larger?" 10 times the size." In this way, the frog went on calculating, but what is the possibility of his ever understanding the depth of far reaches of the great ocean? Our faculties, experience and power of speculations are always limited. We can only give rise to such frog philosophy. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam recommends that we should give up the method of speculation as a waste of time and trying to understand the Supreme. After giving up speculation, what should we do? Bhagavatam recommends that we become submissive and hear the message of God submissively. This message may be found also in Bhagavad Gita and other Vedic literature, in the Bible, in the Quran, in any bona fide scriptures, or it may be heard from the realized soul. The main point is that one should not speculate, but should simply hear about God. What will be the result of such hearing? Regardless of what one is, whether he is a poor or rich man, an American, European or Indian, a Brahman, Shudra or whatever, if one but hears the transcendental word of God, of the Lord, who never be conquered by any power or force, will be conquered by love. Arjuna was a friend of Kṛṣṇa, but Kṛṣṇa, although the Supreme and Kṛṣṇa reciprocates his love in this way. If one but hear the transcendental word of God, the Lord, who can never be conquered by any power or force, will be conquered by love. Arjuna was a friend of Kṛṣṇa's, but Kṛṣṇa, although the Supreme Godhead, becomes Arjuna's chariot driver, a menial servant. Arjuna loved Kṛṣṇa, and Kṛṣṇa reciprocates his love in this way. Similarly, when Kṛṣṇa was a child, he playfully took the shoes of his father, Nanda Maharaj, and put them on his head. People may try very hard to become one with God, but actually we can surpass that. We can become father of God. Of course, God is the father of all creature. Now also forget. People may try very hard to become one with God, but actually we can surpass that. We can become father of God. Of course, the God is the father of all creature, and he has no father himself, but he accepts his devotee, his lover, as father. Kṛṣṇa agrees to be conquered by his devotees out of love. All one has to do is hear the message of Lord very carefully. In the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Sri Kṛṣṇa gives additional ways in which he can be perceived in every step of life. Punyogandha prithivayam cha prithiviyam cha tejaschasmi vibhavaso jivanam sarvabhuteshu tapaschasmi tapasvishu. Translation: I am the original fragrance of the earth, and I am the heat in fire. I am the life of that all that lives, and I am the penances of all ascetics. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, verse number 9. The word Punyogandha refers to fragrances. Only Kṛṣṇa can create flavors and fragrances. We may synthetically create some scents or fragrances, but these are not as good as original that occurs in nature. When we smell the good natural fragrance, we can think, oh, here is God, here is Kṛṣṇa. Or when we see some natural beauty, we can think, oh, here is Kṛṣṇa. Or when we see something uncommon, powerful or wonderful, we can think, here is Kṛṣṇa. Or when we see any form of life, whether it be tree, or in a plant, or an animal, or in a human being, we should understood that this life is part and parcel of Kṛṣṇa. For as soon as the spiritual spark, which is part and parcel of Kṛṣṇa, is taken away from the body is disintegrates. Bijamam sarvabhutanam viddhi partha sanatanam buddhimadmat buddhimatam smi tejas tejas vinas aham. Translation: O son of Pritha, know that I am the original seed of seed of all existence, the intelligence of the intelligent, and the prowess of all powerful men. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, verse number 10. Here again it is explicitly stated that Krishna is the life of all that lives. Thus at every step we can see God. People may ask, can you show me God? Yes, of course, God can be seen so many ways, but if one closes his eyes and says, I shall not see God, then how can he be shown? In the above verse, the word bijam means seed, and that seed is proclaimed to be eternal, sanatanam. One may see a huge tree, but what is the origin of this tree? It is the seed, and that seed is eternal. The seed of existence is within every living entity. The body itself may go through so many changes. It may develop within the mother's womb, come out of as a small baby, and grow through childhood and adulthood, but the seed of that existence that is within is permanent. Therefore it is sanatanam, impervasively, we are changing our bodies at every moment, at every second. But the bijam, the seed, the spiritual spark does not change. Krishna proclaims himself to be his eternal seed within all existence. He is also the intelligence of an intelligent person. He is also the intelligence of an intelligent person. Without being favored by Krishna, one cannot become extraordinarily intelligent. Everyone is trying to be more intelligent than others, but without the favor of Krishna, this is not possible. Therefore, whenever we encounter someone with extraordinary intelligence, we should think that intelligence is Krishna, that intelligence is Krishna. Similarly, the influence of one who is very influential is also Krishna. Balam balavatam chaham karma raga vivarchitam dharma viruddha bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshava. Dharma aviruddho bhuteshu. Okay. Translation: I am the strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire. I am a sex life which is not contrary to religious principles. All out of Brahmanas, Bharatas, Arjuna. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, verse number 11. The elephant and the gorilla are very strong animals, and we should understand that they get their strength from Krishna. The human beings cannot acquire such strength by his own endeavor. But if Krishna so favors, a man can get strength to exceed the elephants thousands of times. The great warrior Bhima, who fought in the battle of Kṛṣṇa, was said to have strength of 10,000 times of an elephant. Similarly, the desire or lust, kama, which is not against religious principles, should also be seen as Krishna. What is this lust? What is this lust? Lust generally means sex life, but here kama refers to sex life which is not against religious principles. That is to say, sex for begetting of good children. If one can beget good Krishna conscious children, he can have sex thousands of times. But if he can only beget children who are raised in consciousness of cats and dogs, his sex life is to be considered irreligious. In religious and civilized society, marriage is intended as an indication that couple is to engage in sex for begetting good children. Once again I am reading. In religious and civilized society, what society? Religious and civilized. Marriage is intended as an indication that a couple is to engage in sex for begetting good children. Therefore, married sex life is considered religious and unmarried sex life is considered irreligious. Actually, there is no difference between the sannyasi and the householder, provided that householder sexual activities are based on religious principles. ये चैवा सात्विका भाव रजस्तमश्च ये चैवा सात्विका भाव रजसस्तमसश्च ये मत्त अवेति तान् विद्धि नत्वमहं तेषु ते मयि. Translation: all state of being, be they of goodness, passion and ignorance, are manifested by my energy. I am, in one sense, everything, but I am independent. I am not under the modes of this material nature. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, verse number 12. One may question Kṛṣṇa in this way: you say you are sound, water, illumination, fragrance, the seed of all, strength and karma, desire. Does that mean you exist simply in the mode of goodness? In the material world, there are modes of goodness, passion and ignorance. Thus far, Kṛṣṇa describes himself as that which is good for sex and marriage according to the religious principle. But what about the other modes? Does not Kṛṣṇa exist in them? In answer, Kṛṣṇa replies that whatever it is seen in the material world is due to an interaction of three modes of material nature. Whatever can be observed is the combination of goodness, passion and ignorance. And in all cases, these three states are produced by me, means Kṛṣṇa. Because they are produced by Kṛṣṇa, their possession is in him, but he is not in them. Very important. Because they are produced by Kṛṣṇa, their possession is in him, but he is not in them. For Kṛṣṇa himself is transcendental to the three modes. Thus, in another sense, bad and evil things which are produced out of ignorance are also Kṛṣṇa when they are applied by Kṛṣṇa. How is this? For example, an electrical engineer is producing electrical energy. In our homes, we are experiencing this electrical energy as coldness in refrigerator or heat in electrical stove. But at the power plant, electrical energy is neither cold or hot. The manifestation of this energy may be different from the living entities, but for Kṛṣṇa they are not different. Therefore, Kṛṣṇa sometimes acts on what appears to be the principles of passion or ignorance. But for Kṛṣṇa there is nothing but Kṛṣṇa. But for Kṛṣṇa there is nothing but Kṛṣṇa. Just as for the electrical engineer, electrical energy is simply electricity, nothing else. He makes no distinction that this is cold electricity or that is hot electricity. Everything is being generated by Kṛṣṇa. Indeed, the Vedanta Sutra confirms, Athato Brahma Jigyasa, Janmadasya Yataha. Everything is flowing from Supreme Absolute. What the living entity is considering to be bad or good is only so for living entity, for he is conditioned. But Kṛṣṇa is not conditioned. For him, there is no question of bad or good. Because we are conditioned, we are suffering from dualities. But for him, everything is perfect. So now we are completing with our chapter 3. That is two important words. Yes, this one. Seeing Kṛṣṇa, how we can see and everywhere. First we have to see Kṛṣṇa everywhere and always. So this is very beautiful session. That was the nectar from the lotus mouth of Srila Prabhupada. By mercy of Supreme Lord Kṛṣṇa, I have completed this. So I'm saying thank you so much for hearing this nectar, and see you in our upcoming session. And please pardon me if any mistakes in reading is there. I know I have missed so many mistakes. So for this mistake I am asking for pardon. Please forgive me. And please bless me with that much devotion I can experience and practice in my Krishna conscious life. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.